Warm greetings, everyone. A quick recapitulation of Chapter 4, The Enemy. I'm sure you have read the chapter by now. The story is set at the time of Second World War 1941. Heart-rending conflict between men's head and heart. An enemy sailor is washed ashore in dying state and is found at the doorstep of a Japanese doctor. Now, what should be done? Let's find out. Our request about the author. Her novel, The Good Earth, was written in 1932 and she earned a Pulitzer Prize for that. She won a Nobel Prize in Literature in 1938. See the background. You can see two enemy soldiers, two enemy forces, they are fighting. One is US, that's America, and other is Japan. The story takes place in a coastal town of Japan when Japan had attacked America. I would also like to tell you that when Japan attacked America, it made a surprise military attack at the naval base, which was Pearl Harbor, on December 7, 1941. The theme, it shows how war and narrow nationalism can stifle human feelings of love, compassion, and brotherhood into enemies. This is the introduction to the story. Let's quickly go through the characters. In all, there are 9 characters. Dr. SADAO Hoki, the Japanese doctor, his wife, they are the main characters. And the third important character is Tom. Kindly remember the name. He is the American prisoner of war, a sailor of US Navy. The other characters are first his father, who was a traditional father, a true patriot. The other characters are the supporting characters. They are the old General Takima, another one, an officer, a messenger from General. Another are the characters who can be termed as servants of Dr. SADAO. One very important character is gardener, the other one is a cook. Last but not the least, it's Yumi, who is Hana's maidservant. This slide, you can see young SADAO and his traditional father. On the other, you can see Dr. SADAO when he became a doctor. Beautifully describes the father and the son relationship. Dr. SADAO lived with his father in a house on the Japanese coast. His father was every inch a patriot, and SADAO's education was his main concern. He took indefinite pains and sent him to America for higher studies at the age of 22. When he came back to Japan, he was an expert scientist, a renowned surgeon. But he was not sent with the troops because of 2 conditions. First of all, he was able to make a discovery which would render wounds entirely clean. Second, the old general of the army was ill and he might need an operation anytime, and that old general trusted him very much. This slide shows how the young couple met in America at Professor Harley's house. But SADAO was very careful. He waited to fall in love with Hannah till he was certain about the purity of her race. This was because of his high regard for his father. The marriage solemnized in traditional Japanese way according to his father's wish. They were a happy, a perfect couple, having a better understanding with each other. SADAO recalls his days when he was in America, how he met his soulmate and other things. One night, as the couple was enjoying the view of the sea from their veranda, they saw something black coming out of the mists. It was a man who staggered, who crawled, and the couple thought it could be a fisherman. They rushed to the beach and noticed a wounded, unconscious white man who was bleeding profusely, heavily. Doctor was torn between his moral duty as a doctor, which urged him to save the life of the dying man. The another one was his national duty, which required him to hand him, the patient, over to the army as a patriot. He was quite indecisive for a few moments. However, both decided and took him home as he was in need of an urgent medical attention. As Tom, the American soldier, was taken to the house, the servants reacted bitterly. They were highly critical. They were frightened. They disapproved their master's action. The cook feared that nature would certainly take revenge. Yumi refused to wash the white man. SADAO saves the enemy's life. He operates the patient. Bullet is removed with precision, which was near the kidney. White man's life was saved. He was served by Hannah. Hannah herself washed and dressed his wounds. When he regained consciousness, they came to know that his name was Tom. Tom was very anxious, worried about his future. The servants, as I informed you earlier, they were highly critical of their master's kind action. They were again and again giving a cold response. Finally, on the 7th day, they decided to desert their master. SADAO noticed the change of behavior, but however, he was firm. The traumatic situation. SADAO types a letter for police about Tom. However, he finds somebody there at the threshold of his house, and he keeps the unfinished letter in his drawer. The general's messenger was there. He had come to call SADAO as the old general was in pain. The general, Takima, had immense faith on Dr. Sadao's efficiency. So, Dr. Sadao grabs that moment and shares the whole episode about the prisoner of war. General promises to send his private assassins who were very competent and were able to remove the dead body. However, 3 nights passed. Assassins did not turn up. Hence, he planned to get rid of the enemy himself. Sadao helps the enemy. He shares the escape plan. He gave the prisoner his boat, extra food, clothing, bottled water, and a flashlight, and covered his hair with a black cloth. He even asked him to wait for a Korean fishing boat, told him to flash the torch twice if he ran out of food and flash it once if he was all right. Finally, the prisoner escaped safely. You can see the slide. The prisoner moves unharmed and he escapes safely. Doctor informs the general. The general had survived another operation. He recalls that he failed to keep his promise. Both decide to keep it a secret and do not doubt each other's integrity and patriotism. Finally, the servants return, making his life normal. Standing near the veranda, facing the seashore, Dr. Sadao recalls, goes for self-introspection. He remembers the past incidents of America, the prejudiced behavior of Americans. He is reminded of all miseries and pain he faced and suffered while he was in America. However, humanity overpowered all his feelings. The key message, apart from anti-war story, humanness in war, patriotism and medical profession, the key message for the story is humanity must rise above narrow prejudices. Here are the practice assignments. I would request you to solve them so that you score better in your upcoming exams. Thank you.